You're listening to the Two Tongues Podcast. And now your hosts, Kyle and Chris.
Buongiorno.
Here we are. Back again.
Cut that music.
Get that shit out of here.
Get it out. What's up, man?
Not much.
Let me adjust my mic. There it is. Okay.
You know, speaking of music, what do you think of the AI songs the theme songs that I created? You remember those?
No, why am I drawing a blank?
I sent you a link to like 3 or 4. It's from an AI program called Suno, and yeah, they're like like metal, and two of them were metal and 2 of them were like more your kind of emo screamo. I just wrote some like really quick like bullshit lyrics, and it sounds real. It sounds like a real band.
Oh shit!
You responded to them in the text message.
Well, this leads us to a topic we want to talk about today. It's sort of ringing a bell, but not enough, and that bothers me.
Yeah.
My memory is a problem. So hold on. So this software allows you to just put lyrics in and tell it what type of music.
It tells you. It gives you a little box for a prompt, and you write in what you want. You're not allowed to like use band names. Because there's probably some kind of copyright thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you can. If I wanted a song in the style of Megadeth, I would say like 80s style thrash metal. Complex riffs, stuff like fast complex riffs, and it spits it out like really, really well. And you can also write lyrics for it. I made some with, like I said, very, very just like I wrote like I took like 30 seconds to write lyrics. I tried to think of like the long version of our intro, like the kind of stuff it says in there, and just kind of like base it on that. But it's pretty convincing. That sounds pretty good.
That's amazing. I'm gonna have to go back and re-listen to that. I also wonder if we could just like record a whole album and just become rich and just
there's AI hitting like number 1 on Spotify, like AI artists.
Yeah, they're AI artists, and soon AI actors. Yeah,
it's pretty crazy, man.
So I have seen the AI porn.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Mm-hmm. And it's still, it's not quite there yet, but I can see the future of coming,
You're exploring AI porn, huh?
No, I don't explore it. It just,
I don't explore it.
No. They just, they make recommendations. I'm like, I'm not interested in this, but they keep making the recommendations.
Oh, okay. Like the websites make recommendations.
Yeah. Like you might be interested in this video,
and they recommend that.
Yeah. But there's still that uncanny valley thing where to me it's like weird. It's just weird, man. I can't get my head in the game if in the back of my mind I'm like, this is not right. Something's not right about this. It needs to be right, Kyle.
What about it is not right?
Man, like if I tried to explain to you the details, it would be graphic, and I'm not sure. But it's just like like unrealistic. Like, I'll just put it this way: there are things that you can make a cartoon or an animated person do that a real human being couldn't do, and you're trying to make it convincing, and I know that's not right.
Gotcha.
And on top of that, there's like a certain element of a cartooniness to it and a certain element of perfection to it that doesn't exist in humanity.
Yeah.
It's like, you're going to give me the most perfectly symmetrical, beautiful woman that doesn't exist. You know what I mean? It's like, and she's like, there's just something about it. So it's like some airbrush touched up perfection that
I know exactly what you mean on that. I know that on Instagram, there's a lot of, I don't know. I'm sure there are a lot, but I've seen a few accounts where the girl, the woman in the Instagram reels or whatever is not a real person at all.
Yeah.
There's no person. It's just AI.
Yeah.
And it does look really convincing. Until you really pay attention to it. If you're just like scrolling through like
Yeah. I know how you do it. Yeah.
You know, it might be enough to fool you, but if you actually like pay attention to it, you're like, something's off. Like, so, it just looks too, I don't even know how to describe it, but there's just something, some kind of like element of not realness.
Yeah.
You know,
I do know. You know what I wonder about is as that gets better and better, you know, like you're talking about AI bands, and I mentioned AI actors. Imagine if AI gets so good that OnlyFans becomes just completely populated by bots that are so much better than any human being could actually ever be, that all of a sudden all of these, you know, these women that are making oodles of money are going to be just washed out by bots that are perfect.
Yeah.
You know,
Nick Fuentes was talking about that recently. Someone, you know, at the end of his show, he does super chats, and someone asked about like AR, VR porn, you know, augmented reality. And he was talking about how, you know, Nick Fuentes is a pretty traditional guy, and he says he doesn't watch porn. Who knows if that's true or not? I take him at his word, but he said that he thinks it's going to be a good thing to some level because it's going to knock women down a peg, you know, like men are already, like a ton of men already would prefer porn to women, you know, just because porn doesn't talk back to you. Porn, you know, porn isn't a girl boss. You know, you can turn porn off. I'm not an advocate of porn. I don't think you should watch porn. I think it's bad for your brain, and bad for your relationships, and bad for all kinds of things. I'm pretty anti-porn, but I do understand what he's talking about. Like, I do think that women are out of control, and like stuff like OnlyFans and things like that. It's a poison to society. You know, like there used to be a bunch of women who did porn, you know, like online porn. But it was still a pretty small, I mean, I think it's still a minority of women, but it's more than it has ever been before, because anybody who has a camera, anyone who has a cell phone, can get online and start selling pictures and videos of their butthole. You know, and I do think that once there's like convincing AI porn and like sex robots and stuff like that, women are going to have to start being pleasant again. You know, like if they want the attention of men, they're going to have to give men a reason to give them attention.
They're going to have to bring something else to the table.
Yeah. Other than their boobs.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I do think that it'll have an unexpected moral enhancing quality when the digital world can do porn so much better than any real person could ever hope to, that they just lose market share to bots.
Yeah.
But it's just a weird dystopian freaking world.
Any benefit that it might have, I think it will have a lot more drastic, like setbacks, you know? And honestly, I think the setbacks are going to be so drastic that I think they'll cancel out any kind of benefit, to be honest with you. I think we're headed towards dark times.
You think something like OnlyFans will like lose its appeal or novelty if it gets, because I can just imagine if a bot was successful and had a huge account making a bunch of money, that there's going to be a million copycats.
I think that's already happening to some extent.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Weird. Well, so let me just switch gears, unless you have any more. I'll switch gears because you brought up that app with making music, and I'm like struggling to remember. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about is a little bit of inspiration from your part, where we in our great state, marijuana was made illegal, so it's not as though we have to dance around that topic, but smoking pot has its pros and cons. And I remember when I had a really difficult period of my life, like I never smoked. I was always a pretty straight edge guy. Like, my parents were both alcoholics, and other people in my family had drug problems. And there's kind of like two reactions to that. And my reaction was to just avoid it. Like, I learned from your mistakes. And then I had a point in my life where I was in a dark spot, after I got divorced, and I was, just in a dark spot. And I smoked, and I remember thinking, like, this is medicine.
Yeah, you really cottoned onto it
pretty
quickly.
Yeah. And then I realized, like, I needed to get out of my own head, and I needed to get into a social environment and to try to meet new people and to try to, do all those things that you do when you're in a funk. And I was resisting it all because it's just not like, I don't want to say like I'm an introvert or something, but it's just like not something I was thrilled about doing. And at the time, it was medicine. It was social lubricant, and it was medicine. It was like depression medicine. It was like it gave me a sense of wonder about the world again, and that is invaluable. To look at the world like a child again, to look around at the beauty of nature and the sophistication and complexity of everything around you, and just be in awe of it. And like being like 26 years old or something, never having really smoked pot, and smoking and finding myself in this headspace of that I hadn't been in since I was 6 years old or something. It was medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that I had it at that time. It was important. And then I had a series of jobs that were shit, that were high pressure, stressful jobs. And I found again a medicinal value to smoking pot, to decompress at the end of the day, to get out from under all that stress and the anxiety about having to do it all again tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
And then I would have, hours of peace at night where I was enjoying everything, right? More. And I wasn't worried about tomorrow. That's tomorrow's problem. Right now, I'm just going to live and have this moment. And it was medicine, man. And then after a while, it stopped being medicine. It became, it's partly a force of habit, and,
Mm-hmm.
and partly I don't know, man, like maybe even like a physiological dependence of some kind. I mean, they say that marijuana is not habit forming, but that's a lie.
Bullshit, yeah.
And in any case, I don't know if you want to interject at some point, but what I want to get to is the impact that smoking over a long period of time consistently, in the quantities that you do when you become a daily smoker and all that, what it does to your short-term memory. And that's something that's been like I don't know, man, like a point of make or break for me.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you inspired me to kind of take a leap to just cold turkey it. And for the people listening, it's not like I've been smoking every day since I was 26. Although it's not like a super far off thing to say. There have been times where I've stopped for significant stretches of time and all that. It's not like I'm a crackhead or something. But I'm on a break, and you're on a break. So what happened with you, man? And do you agree with this concept of it being valuable and then ceasing to be valuable in some way?
I think that I didn't have the same like trajectory with weed that you did. I've been smoking for longer than you have. And I mean, I started smoking irregularly when I was in high school, I didn't really start smoking regularly until I was in my like early mid 20s. But I started smoking pretty much every day, multiple times a day, when I was like 24, somewhere in that area. And I've had like periods too where I stopped for a few months, mostly for like tolerance reasons. It's like, it's like you smoke all the time and then you're smoking and it's like, man, I don't really feel anything. I'm just like I'm just literally burning money for no fucking reason. So you take a little bit of a break so you can feel something again, which just sounds bad. It doesn't sound
should be
like
a warning sign. Yeah.
So I've had like periods where I didn't smoke. But I've been a pretty regular smoker for like 15 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, just the things that you said, I think that I just smoked because it was fun. most, especially early on. It's just like, well, I don't know. I think I was definitely escaping some things too
Sure.
when I was younger, like me and Matt, who's been on the podcast, we were, even when we weren't living together, we were hanging out all the time, and neither of us were in like great situations with our living situations and our job situations. And so, I think there was like an escapism element to it. But I think in that moment, I was just contextualizing it as things are more fun when you smoke weed, which is true.
It is true
to some, but the way that you were contextualizing it, I do wonder, like you said, it's like a social lubricant, which people say about alcohol too.
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder, it is 100%. You said that you didn't want to classify yourself as an introvert. I'm pretty comfortable classifying myself as an introvert.
Totally.
And maybe even worse than that. Like a lot of times I don't like people, my inclination a lot of the time is to not like people.
Yeah. Me too. And I try to push back against that, but I know what you mean.
Yeah. Especially like if I don't talk to them, like a lot of times, if I talk to somebody, I can find something to like about them.
Yeah.
But if I'm just like out in public and it's like strangers, and like you'll talk to people at bars that you don't know. I don't fucking do that, man. I don't talk to strangers.
Yeah.
And my inclination, if I'm sitting somewhere by myself, is like, don't fucking talk to me. It's like, I have my headphones in. Why are you fucking talking to me?
Yeah.
So I'm like kind of anti-social to some extent. And I wonder, weed does make it, I'm more willing to like be friendly with strangers and stuff like that. If I'm high in public, I'm definitely more chatty, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder, is that good? I think it's good to be more social. I should be more social than I am. I think that being antisocial, especially as you get older, is not good.
Not good.
But I do wonder if having that like artificial version of it is good.
Yeah.
It's like, is it worth the negative repercussions? And one thing that I want to talk about is nobody ever talked about the negative repercussions. Like the biggest pro weed person that I remember when I was growing up was good old Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan talked about weed and made it seem like it was some miracle drug, and I think even Joe's changed his tune a little bit on it.
Yeah.
I don't really listen to Rogan at all anymore. Just every now and then when he has like some person, when there's like some kind of controversy, or when he has someone on that I'm like interested in, I'll tune in. But for the most part, I don't listen to Rogan. But I think I've heard him like change his tune a little bit on weed. That there's no such thing as the free lunch.
Yep.
If you get a benefit from something, you're going to have some kind of drawback too. And that is something that no one ever talked about up until pretty recently.
Do you remember when Joe had Graham Hancock on like the second or third time?
Yeah.
You remember that conversation?
Yeah.
And Graham was talking. In fact, he's saying something like kind of like what we're saying.
Yeah.
That he'd become a daily smoker and was literally vaporizing weed from the moment he woke up until the moment he went to bed. And everybody knew it was a problem, including his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And he loved it so much he refused to acknowledge it. And he got to a point where I think if I remember correctly, he had like an ayahuasca experience.
Yeah.
And he said that the entities came to him and confronted him about that.
Mm-hmm.
And he had to stop smoking, which is weird. But I think that conversation might have been the first time where Joe was kind of talking.
Yeah, he resisted it pretty hard even after that, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do remember that. And I think Graham since has begun smoking again.
Yeah.
He's like balanced out his relationship with it. But yeah, the negative stuff is, I think that people should look into that more. I think that like professional people should look into it more. But even like the lay people like me, go online and try to see what you can find about it. And I didn't even finish it because the new position that I got moved to at work requires me to like talk to people more often. When I was in my old department, I was the only person in it, and I just had my headphones in all the time and I could finish podcasts all the time.
Yeah.
Now I'm required to like interact with people more often, which my antisocial self, I'm not particularly enjoying sometimes. But another drawback is that I don't really get to like finish things. And a lot of times I don't like want to come back to it either.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just going to move on to something else.
Yeah.
But the interview that I watched, I can't even remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but he was on Tucker Carlson, and he's some kind of brain doctor, you know, and people come into him with all sorts of cognitive issues, memory loss, you know, bad memory, one of them. Other things like mood issues, all kinds of cognitive stuff.
Yeah.
And he gets these brain scans, and he'll look at the brain scans, and he can tell just by looking, without talking to them at all, you either smoke weed, you drink alcohol regularly, or you live in a house that has like toxic mold in it, you know?
Wow.
Yeah. It's like, I can tell before you even tell me. And then he, you know, talks to them, and it's always true. He's like, always. And the thing is, it decreases the mass of your brain. Oh, and obesity. The people who are fat have smaller brains.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And
I thought you were saying there was a correlation between smoking and obesity.
Well, yeah,
I can understand
that. But yeah, I mean, that doesn't make me. I don't necessarily have the memory thing. My memory's pretty fucking good. Always has been really good.
Awesome.
Makes me. I get worried for my future because my grandpa had dementia really bad, and that just seems not good, you know. It's a really, really rough thing to have happen to someone. So I worry about that. But at the moment, I'm not really that worried about my memory. But I don't want a small brain. I don't want my brain to be shrinking. And I do worry about other things like maybe like the mood stuff. Although I don't know, I feel like as I get older, I'm still kind of antisocial, but I'm less quick to like have my temper triggered, less quick to like blow up.
Yeah. Well, your testosterone levels are like 60% lower than they were when you were 20 years ago, you know?
True. But I don't even know. I'm sure that does play into it, but I think that another part of it is just that you realize that like freaking out like that just makes you more angry and it makes the anxiety higher, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's a big part of it. Not denying the testosterone. Part of me wants to deny the testosterone thing, you know? But I do wonder if some of it is just like a growing, a growing thing where it's like I need to like calm down, you know?
Yeah.
And especially because it like drives people away from you, you know? When you are angry all the time, people don't want to be around you, you know?
When you're high all the time, it does the same thing. It can. I have to say, while we're talking about the negative sides of it, this isn't always the case, but it became more of a common thing where I would be disconnected. So it's like even though I heard what you said, maybe I didn't respond, or like you made a joke and I knew it was funny, but I didn't laugh.
Yeah.
Or it's just like you become sort of disconnected, and then I don't really notice it from my perspective, but for everybody else is like, this guy's a lame duck.
A fucking zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to say like, I assume you're going to agree with this, but there's like a pattern of ratcheting up the usage that for me began with when you first smoke, and you're not used to it. It's quite an experience. And for me, it was like, to some degree, debilitating. I couldn't function. I remember thinking to myself, how do people drive high?
Yeah.
I could not do it.
100%. Back in the day, those early highs are like getting hit by a fucking Mack truck. 100%. Yeah.
So because of that, you're not smoking a lot because you wouldn't want to be in that condition a lot. But then as you smoke more, that starts to become it goes away. You don't have those super intense experiences anymore. It becomes much more manageable. Then I understand how people can drive on it. Then I can understand how people smoke before work. And so this is kind of what I wanted to get to. I got to a point where smoking when I got home from work every day was normal. And then on the weekends, it was as soon as I woke up in the morning, right? And all day on the weekends, basically. And I still will admit that being high for marijuana first thing in the morning with your cup of coffee is one of the greatest pleasures known to man. Being high in the morning is a glorious thing. Then I find a line gets crossed, man. And this is true for me, but it's true for other people that I know, where you say to yourself, I'm never going to be high at work.
Oh, and I never really had that line. That was not a line for me.
And then you find yourself, smoking in the car on the way to work, or smoking on your lunch break, or getting a little vape pen and nobody knows, and you keep it on you all the time. And so there's a slippery slope involved. So you never had the reservation about, but that's probably because the work you were doing, right? Like it didn't keep you from doing your job. It didn't prevent you from doing your job well, right?
Sometimes it did. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of the time it was not as much of an issue. Yeah. I don't even, like a few months ago when I was smoking, I don't really smoke at work now. And I haven't, since I've had this job, it's not really been something that I wanted to do, because I do like kind of dangerous work.
Yeah.
I don't want to like fuck around and cut my hand off or burn myself really bad. But even before that, like you were talking about, when you first start smoking, it's like crazy, and then it changes. It's continued to change for me, because like the last times that I was smoking, I don't even like really enjoy it that much anymore, so at a certain point there started to be this thing where I would smoke weed and I would feel like I was having a heart attack or something. I don't even really know what it was. And that never happened early on.
Yep.
But then it just continues to change. And yeah, I stopped, just completely stopped, because I don't even like doing it. It's like, I'm not sure why I was doing it. It's just like a habit and an expense that I don't need.
Yeah.
And, it does change the way that I feel some. And I'm sure like having had months, it's been a few months at this point. Having had months off, if I smoked, it would be different than it was before, but I just didn't really enjoy it at all. And it felt like a chore, cause I'd have to get up, go clean the bong, go pack it, grind the weed up, cause I always smoke flower, because vapes don't do anything for me. They hurt my throat and they just don't generally make me feel that high. But yeah, I just like started wondering, like, what am I getting out of this? What is the benefit of doing this? There wasn't an obvious one anymore.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the experience does continue to change. So even beyond that point where it becomes kind of normalized or something. And I agree with you, man. I felt like it used to be, I'm watching TV, and I've said this to you many times, like what the type of recreation I want to do, like even just what I want to watch on TV differs almost 180 degrees if I'm sober or if I'm high. And I would watch Rick and Morty and just enjoy every freaking minute of it. But then recently, like in recent years, it hasn't been so much like that. Like I would still prefer to watch something mindless, but I wasn't enjoying it like I used to. Instead, I was just, detached. Like I said, I was almost like a zombie, wasn't really enjoying it. So I agree with you there. And the thing about I don't know if you want to call them heart palpitations, but while we're talking about the negative side, and like maybe people should consider, or at least maybe just hearing this conversation is a good start, hearing the negative side. I've heard that this is associated with the higher percentage THC content in the weed nowadays and all of that. But I 100% agree with you that there have been moments where after smoking, where I don't know what a heart attack feels like, but whatever was happening to me made me wonder if that's what was happening, or if I was at some risk of something like that happening, where I was aware of my heartbeat in a way that you aren't normally.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell if it was because it was like I was missing a beat, or something was going wrong and it was bringing my attention to it. But then there's this level of paranoia and focus on it, it's like a what do you call it? I focus on it more, so I notice it more. It makes me more scared, so I focus on it more. I'm in a loop.
Yeah.
I'm in a loop about it, and it's scary. And I don't know if you've ever had this, but I told you on several occasions, similarly, after smoking too much, that I had these, I don't know how to describe them, waves of involuntary muscular trembling.
Oh yeah.
From my whole body. And it literally, you would compare it to in a cartoon when you're cold and you're shivering.
Yeah.
But it literally is waves. It comes and intensifies and it eases up and then it comes back. And so there were moments, dude, where I would sit there for 40 minutes in a constant state of up and down with that.
Yeah, and then the next night you smoke again. Yeah,
and then the next night you smoke again.
Yeah,
terrible.
Yeah.
And if I were a more fearful person, like those people that call 911 when they eat weed, and you laugh at them and you say, "You're right."
Yeah.
Well, if I were a more fearful person in those instances, I would have absolutely, gone to the hospital.
You said that it's like you compared it to like in a cartoon, a person shivering because they're cold. And honestly, I think that sometimes it is related to that sort of thing. There's like something, the whole thing, like the heart. So when you smoke, it does increase your heart rate. That's one of the side effects of weed. It increases your heart rate. So, your heart starts going more, and that's just a natural side effect of smoking weed. But like, I don't know, it's like your mental faculties are like dimmed, they're like, they're blunted. And you also are prone to paranoia, that's like a part of weed. That's a side
more
effect
and more as you go on.
So it like you have this natural side effect and that paranoia kicks in and you don't have the mental faculties to be like, it's just a side effect. You're fine. You just need to wait it out. And then also like the cold thing, I've noticed when I would have, because I would have the same thing that like, violent shaking.
Yeah.
And eventually after it happened enough time, it's like, I'm just going to lay down and like make myself calm down, put a blanket on, and it goes away. You know
what? Now that you say that, put a blanket on, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Because I remember it triggering it because I was cold.
Yeah. It's like you're too stupid to realize that you're just cold, which is not a great endorsement for weed.
No. I do think there might be something more going on because I also seem to remember like my fingers getting cold, like I'm laying there and I can feel my fingers are cold. Like, what that means to me is that the
circulation.
Well, it means that the blood is going away from my extremities to my internal organs. It's to protect you. That's what happens when you're hypothermic or something. Your blood flow sort of stops going to your toes and your fingers. That's why they get cold first, in order to keep your organs warm and full of oxygen.
Yeah, I know that in like hypothermia that happens, but I'm just like, why would that happen when you're smoking weed? Because like, even if you are cold, even if you are in your house and like the heat is maybe not as high as it could be and you're a little chilly, you're not so cold that you're getting hypothermia,
No.
So you just wonder like what is going on there.
Yeah, I don't know.
I honestly do think that like there might be something to it that like your faculties are blunted and you just are too stupid to realize you need to put a hoodie on,
Yeah. I mean, I can go with you so far. I've been cold a lot. Like I've been in the woods hunting and dude, I was in a tree stand hunting and I have never been so freaking cold in my life where my legs, I was wearing multiple pants, and I was all bundled up, but my legs are resting against the tree stand and it's metal. And it just sucks the heat out of you. It leaches it out of you. And I'm up there for like 6-7 hours. By the time I'm done, I'm literally trembling like a cartoon. But even in that situation, I did not have those violent waves of trembling. This was different. It's something different, man.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
I'll tell you a story about once when this happened, because I don't know, man, maybe it'll be interesting for the audience to hear. It's a little embarrassing for me. I've told you this before, but one of my children was born like premature, not like in an unhealthy way, but like a few weeks, like 3 weeks before she was supposed to be. I tell you that because I'm trying to pad the audience here to give me a little bit of a freaking break. I was very high, sitting on the couch, watching TV at the end of the day, like I had done a million times in this situation. My very pregnant wife, who can't smoke during this time, is probably, rolling her eyes at me. Then her water breaks.
Yeah, it's go time.
And I'm on the couch, high as balls. And then this was the strangest thing, man. She said, "Oh my God, it's time to go." And I look up at her and I'm like, "The fuck do you mean it's time to go?" And she, she's like, "It's time." And I sat up on the couch, and immediately those trembles hit me.
Oh yeah.
The violent tremors hit me, and I stood up and I'm like, I have to do this. I have to. I now is the responsibility time.
No time to fuck around.
Put childish things away, and it was like the strangest thing, man. It was like a condensed version of the trembling. I told you, like, there was times where it lasted 40 minutes. Yeah. This lasted like a minute and a half. And it was like, okay, I guess we're going to tremble and get this out of the way so that we can go to the hospital. It was almost like my body was in fast forward mode, doing what it had to do to get me to the point where I could go to the hospital. And I did. And I was sober as a fucking judge. And a minute, 30 seconds, sober as a judge.
Yeah, that makes me wonder if, like you were sitting there relaxing and then all of a sudden you're put into this high pressure situation. And that high pressure situation is enough to cause you to like have that reaction. But then it's such a high pressure situation that it also forces you to be like, all right, we have to do this. We can't fuck around.
Yeah.
And when you're sitting at your house, like kind of freaking out, you don't really have that high pressure situation to force you to be able to like balance out, you're just like, it's like that negative feedback loop you were talking about, So I wonder if there's something about that, like if you're sitting at home and you're having one of those episodes, you have just enough paranoia to indulge that, but you don't have that high stakes to be like, all right, straighten the fuck up. Like, stiff upper lip time to like put on the big boy pants and get this taken care of. If you're just at home, you're like, oh God, I'll die.
Exactly. I also wonder if there's like, chemically, like if there's, what's the chemical, when you're panicking, what's that chemical called?
Don't know.
Yeah. See, can't even remember. Marijuana. Anyway, I wonder if there's a like a fight or flight response happening, and whatever chemicals get released are like in some sense competing with the THC in my brain. You might have to scoot in a little bit more because half your head's out of the camera.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm just taking a drink.
So okay. So the weird heart thing, the trembling, the dependence, the zombie, detachedness. These are all things that nobody tells you. But the memory thing is something that I feel like people do tell you.
Yeah.
You do hear that people who are stoners, they don't remember anything. They're I'm just thinking of like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo or something, like there's like a certain caricature there. But I didn't experience it, at least not noticeably, for years. So it's like a cumulative thing that I'm noticing over the last maybe 5 years that I hadn't noticed up until now. And, it's scary to me, like legitimately scary. I worry about it. So I try to this is not a healthy response, but I try to tell myself other things, right? Like, you're getting older, whatever. It's like, it's probably other things, man. It's not the smoking. It's got to be other things because you like the smoking. You want to keep doing that, right? So it can't be that. You're not going to blame that. But, then there's just been moments, man, like where, like I was on my honeymoon, I think, and we were in Jamaica and we bought weed from some Jamaican fella. And then I'm like meeting people there. And then I like bump into people that I'd met the day before. And I'm introducing myself to them.
It all,
and they say to me, "Don't you remember meeting me yesterday?" That kind of thing. So I feel like if you smoke every day for an extended period of time, your short-term memory is absolutely affected by that. And I wonder to what degree I've trained my brain to just dump that information immediately. or to not retain it. Like I've trained my brain somehow. And so anyway, I just find myself using other like safeguards. Like I don't trust myself to remember anymore. So now I leave myself notes and like I do other things that I never had to do before. It's like, is that just because I'm older now, or is it because I've trained my brain through chemicals and repetition to suck? And it's just, it's not acceptable to me. Like I'll admit something else. I will listen back to the podcast, especially the ones I do myself, because I want to get better. So I listen back to them to see where I fucked up, where I could improve. And I listen to these podcasts and learn shit from myself, Kyle.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So and there's been times before where it was different concerns. Like I smoke and then I eat everything in the house and I can't stop myself. Next thing I know, I'm 60 pounds overweight. Like what in the absolute shit is going on? And even then it's hard to convince myself that smoking is the problem. It's like, you're just going to smoke and then you're not going to eat after dinner, Chris. You're just going to draw the line and be disciplined.
To some extent, smoking is not the problem there, because some people do smoke and they don't eat everything in the house, but if it is making it more difficult for you, then it is part of the problem.
And that's been the impetus to take breaks before. And this time around, that's not it. At the moment, I've been pretty disciplined with my diet. I've been going to the gym regularly. I'm in a pretty good weight for me. Like, not ideal, but better than it's been in a while. You too, man. But that's not it. Now I'd rather not have this memory struggle, man. It's worth the cost. And to your point, it doesn't seem like such a high price to pay anymore because it's not as good as it used to be. It's not as rewarding. The experience is not as rewarding as it used to be.
Yeah. So we have like different struggles, I think, with weed because the memory thing has not been so much of an issue for me. Now, I will say that when I'm high, I am much more likely to be like talking about something, be like, wait, where was I going with that? So that's a thing. But as far as like it bleeding into my life when I'm not high, I've not really noticed that. I still, like I said, I still have a pretty decent memory. I impress myself with my memory pretty frequently.
Yeah. Good.
I've been fat my entire life. So the weed, when I was fat before I started smoking weed, so I couldn't really blame the weed for eating like shit and not exercising, Yeah. I mean, you can to some extent because if you're high as hell, the last thing you want to do is like, for a lot of people, myself included, the last thing you want to do is get up and work out.
True. Yeah.
Or food that is not good for you is like much more rewarding. When you're high, it's like, yeah, give me a bunch of stuff that's terrible for me. But I think for me, it's been more like a mood thing, I smoke weed to put myself in a better mood. And like all of the benefits that you said that you got when you started smoking weed, one of the things that I was thinking is like, I wonder, like, yes, it is good. I guess it was good that you became more social and wanted to get out there more because you were pretty depressed and, like you were not in a good place when you started smoking weed.
No.
And the weed helped. But I just wonder, and we've talked about this with, it's been a long time, but we talked about this with like religious experience and psychedelics. Like, is it maybe not better to do it, to find that stuff without the substance? Would it have been better for you to do it, to put yourself out there without the weed? Would it have been better for people who had religious experiences through psychedelics to try to do that away without psychedelics?
I feel more sympathetic to the first example than the second example.
I'm not surprised by that at all.
Because I do think that there's what do you call them? Like coping mechanisms. Like people develop when they have to, they develop a way of coping with their mood. Like if I'm constantly in a bad mood and it's starting to affect my life negatively, then I have to figure out a way to not be. And if your way of figuring out how to not be that way is to get high, then you're not actually learning anything. You're not teaching yourself to deal with it at all.
Yeah.
You're just escaping from it. And that works. That's like taking a pill to fix a problem, or a symptom, So I do think that there's something to that. And I'll say that that's what I'm experiencing right now over the last, so many days. That
just feeling pissed off
when I'm stressed, and I carry a lot of stress for various reasons, like everybody does, work and family and all that. So when I'm stressed, if I can't get high, my mood is shit, and I find myself like short-tempered and snippy and all kinds of ways that I don't want to be.
Yeah.
And especially not with people I love. And I'm surrounded. I'm a grown man. I'm not often surrounded by strangers. I'm always surrounded by people I love, and they're always the same people. There's not the ones you want to be snippy and short with, I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I went to a wine bar with a couple friend of ours, me and my wife, and we were just having a few drinks, and we were telling stories. And the lady says a couple years ago she wanted to buy a gun. And she went to Cabela's, and it wasn't for her. I think it was for her husband, but it was a gift. So she wanted to go buy it. And apparently you're not allowed to buy a gun for someone else. That's against the rules or whatever. And she doesn't know anything about guns. So she was like, kind of timid in there and didn't really know what she was doing, like a woman in a gun shop. It's like, not ideal for her. And she goes up there, waits in line, talks to the guy, tells him the guy what she wants. The guy starts asking her questions that she can't answer because she doesn't know anything about guns. And then he says to her, well, you don't seem to know anything about this. Are you even buying this for yourself? And she's like, yeah, I'm gonna be taking classes and learn how to use it. And he refused to sell it to her at a national store, Cabela's, refused to sell it to her. And they ended up escorting her out. They wouldn't let her buy a gun. And as she's telling me this story, I'm getting violently angry. Like, and my buddy,
the patriot in you is coming out
100%.
Yeah.
My buddy next to me like puts his hand on my shoulder, like
calm
dude.
Down.
And that's exactly what I said. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? It's like, we have a Second Amendment right in this country to have a gun. We should all have a fucking gun. And good for you for wanting to go out there and learn how to use it and have it to protect yourself and your family and your property.
Yeah.
And by the way, Mr. Cabela would be awful fucking mad if this old sales schmuck behind the counter is refusing to sell the product that he's supposed to sell for a for-profit business. Are you kidding me?
You're blowing your top.
Bring money in the door. Sell the shit that's in the store. That's your job. Not to run off a lady because she doesn't know anything about guns. I was heated, dude.
Yeah, I bet.
And I couldn't, and then I noticed it, and then I'm like trying to, it's like, okay, you're being a little unreasonable, Chris. You might want to, dial it down. So I'm noticing that I'm having trouble regulating those kinds of emotions, the stress and the anger and some of those things. And I think it's because I'm not practiced in it. I haven't had to do it in forever because I've been taking the pill and getting rid of the symptom.
Well, you're not always high,
No.
So do you think that like having smoked, okay, so let's say you smoke at night before you go to bed, then you wake up and you go to work and you're not smoking, and maybe you go out to dinner with your family and you encounter something that pisses you off. Do you think that having smoked last night and maybe knowing that you'll be able to smoke later, like subconsciously makes you like able to regulate?
I think probably that's true to some degree.
So I'm just wondering, like, why, if you were high and that lady was telling you that gun story, I can understand you being like, oh, that's stupid, but you wouldn't be like getting angry,
no,
But I'm wondering, like, if you were smoking, but you weren't high, then would you be getting pissed off?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
So that's a weird thing. I don't really understand that, man. It could be, like you said, because I don't have the anticipated relief that I would otherwise know is coming. That could be it.
That doesn't sound good. That makes it seem like like weed makes you complacent. Like, I don't know, who cares, you know?
It does.
And I think that a lot of people say that about weed.
Yeah.
A lot of people, that is like one of their main points, is that it makes you not care about anything.
Yep.
Which I can definitely, I'm pretty sympathetic to that idea at this point.
Yeah. The fact that it makes you complacent and lazy. I don't know if lazy is the right word, but unmotivated. Maybe unmotivated isn't the right word. Maybe it's like, I don't know. How would you describe it?
I think both of those words are correct, depending on the time, you know, because there are definitely times. Look, I mean, part of it for me at this point in my life is that I work a lot, and a lot of the time when I come home, I don't really want to do a bunch of shit. I'm fucking tired.
Yep.
I still have to cook myself dinner. I still have to wash the dishes. You know, I still,
Totally.
So I just don't want to do a lot of extra shit. But when I was smoking weed, I was going to get high, and I definitely wasn't going to do anything else. You know, it's like I was going to go home and maybe I would cook myself dinner. Maybe I would just order something. You know, if I was going to go home, if I was like looking forward to going home and smoking weed, I definitely wasn't doing anything, you know? So
did you cook high?
Oh yeah.
Did you enjoy cooking more when you were high?
No, not really.
Okay.
I like cooking, so it's like that's kind of a big part of why I stopped smoking, is like I wasn't really enjoying anything more because I was high anymore. It's just like I said, it was just like a habit. It was just like, oh, I guess I'm going to smoke some weed.
Yeah, it's time. It's weed time.
Yeah, the only time that I do kind of want to smoke weed is if I'm like playing video games, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, just like getting high and playing Grand Theft Auto.
Totally.
There's some kind of an appeal to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
I do want to circle back to this thing, because I think it can dispel a myth here about this idea of not, but I guess about smoking and being lazy, but not wanting to exercise. Like that's the last thing I want to do is go do work.
Yeah.
If I'm high, I want to do something that I enjoy. But then you remember like Joe Rogan specifically talking about all the jujitsu guys who like to get high when they roll, when they're practicing Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And I have to say, I've done that where I go on a run high, or or lift weights high, and it is different. But like I said, when I first started smoking, and it's like everything's better when you're high, I actually do think exercise is better when you're high.
Yeah.
I can
not an experience that I've had.
I can tell you, like lifting weights, I'm not in a hurry.
Yeah.
I don't even notice time. And so everything's real slow with my form, and I just feeling all the muscle tension. Exactly. It's almost like you're enjoying something that if I wasn't high would be suffering, you know? So I'm not poo-pooing weed, man. I just think smoking every day for years and years on end is not good for you, man.
Yeah, I agree. I am at a point where I don't know that I would recommend that anybody smoke weed, you know?
Really?
Even though I would say that there have been benefits to it. Like, I noticed that when I play guitar, when I'm high, it seems easier to sound good and like do things that sound good. I don't know. It's just like it comes more naturally or something like that. But I don't know that that's worth it, you know, for the negatives that come with it. I'm not sure that those things are worth it.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that I think differently when I'm high also. And sometimes I can't read when I'm high. Sometimes I can, like it'll be a slow, really deep absorption of the material, but very slow. I won't get very far, but I'll be thinking deeply. Other times I really can't, like I can't even remember what I just read. But the point is I think differently. And you remember, like, I think going back to Joe again, he said something about that where he will write jokes when he's sober, and then he'll punch them up when he's high. So he'll go back and look at them and make tweaks to them.
I don't think it's really working. I mean, say what you want about Joe Rogan, as like a cultural force, Joe has been significant, you know?
Yep.
It ain't for his stand-up, you know?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Joe's not the best stand-up, but he's not terrible, man.
Joe's not good, man. Like Joe Rogan's stand-up is not very good.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like
not.
I guess I wouldn't say that he's terrible. Like if you watch Kill Tony, you'll see some people get up there and try a minute, and they're terrible.
Terrible, right?
So Joe at least seems comfortable on stage, but that's not good. Like, it's not good to go out there and be comfortable with not being funny. I would say that Joe is not funny.
Oh, that's funny.
Would you say that Joe Rogan is funny?
I've watched plenty of Joe's stand up. He's not top 5 comedians. He's not a Louis C.K. or anything
10.
like that. But he's better than many stand ups I've seen.
Who is Joe Rogan better than?
Any woman stand up?
Okay, well, that's a pretty low bar. So, but honestly, I disagree. I think that as unfunny as I think most women comedians are, I think that some of them have some better jokes than Joe.
Okay. Any liberal comedian?
That's like most comedians, though. And
okay, all right. How about I give you a more direct example? Bill Burr today. Joe Rogan is funnier than Bill Burr is today.
It's been so long since I actually watched a new Bill Burr stand-up that I can't attest to that. But I will say that Joe Rogan's stand-up doesn't make me laugh, whereas Bill Burr's like media persona that he has now, because like I said, I don't really watch his stand-up, makes me mad. Yeah. So
what is that?
He married a black woman and became a liberal.
Yeah. Do you think it's just because it's so diametrically opposed to what he was, what the personality he displayed that got him famous, and now he's suddenly made a 180-degree turn on shit, and he tries to pretend like he hasn't? It's like the most ingenuine fucking shit.
Yeah, I fucking hate Bill Burr. I feel the same way. I mean, I never was like a huge Howard Stern fan or anything, but I feel the same way about Howard Stern.
Totally.
Like he made his living being controversial, and then pulled the ladder up behind him. You know, he's like, you can't say that. That's inappropriate. It's like, what are you fucking talking about, dude? You were the most inappropriate person on the face of the planet for a good like 20 years.
Yes. Yep.
I can't say
Howard Stern is way worse than Bill Burr as far as that goes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, totally, man. I agree with you.
But yeah, I don't really. Now we got spun off on Joe Rogan not being funny. But yeah, no, I will die on the hill that Joe Rogan is not a good stand-up. I like Joe Rogan's podcast. Like I said, I don't even really listen to that anymore.
Yeah.
But early on, Joe Rogan's podcast was pretty formative for me.
Yeah,
you know?
Totally.
But I don't know. Something happened. You know, something around the time where he kicked Red Band off and like started getting really popular, something changed.
Yeah.
And it's just not as good as it used to be.
Yeah. Once he started getting, once he wasn't getting paid by Fleshlight anymore, and he started getting real sponsors. Yeah. Before we leave this subject of weed though, I do want to say also, we didn't talk about sleep.
Oh yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, because my sleep has been so much better.
Yeah,
like I feel so much more rested. Like I still wake up in the middle of the night, sometimes multiple times, but I always go to sleep pretty easily. I fall asleep again pretty easily.
Okay.
And I've been dreaming a lot more.
Awesome.
Which has not been great all the time. But I've had some okay dreams recently. But yeah, when I first started dreaming again, it was just all bad dreams all the time. Yeah. Like not like nightmares, like monsters and serial killers and shit, but just like anxious stress dreams, you know, like, oh, I forgot to do something, or like one of them, this was a weird one. I was at work and I was late, and then I got in a fight with someone at work. Maybe I'm mixing up two separate dreams here, but and then I like got in trouble for like saying something inappropriate at work, and then that morphed into I got caught looking at porn at work, which is like what? I'm not even on a computer at work. So and I was in an office. I don't fucking work in an office. So you know how dreams are. They're like, they don't make any sense.
Yeah.
But you know, I woke up just like, oh my God, thank God that was a dream. I had one dream that there was a terrorist attack at Disney World.
Oh, you said that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bad one.
Were you at Disney?
I was in a doctor's office.
Just watching the TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is interesting to me, man. I actually did dream last night. I woke up in the middle of the night, and I at the time I remembered my dream. I knew I was dreaming, and I remember thinking to myself, "Oh yeah, I'm dreaming. I missed this," and went back to sleep. And then I thought I would remember, and you never do. So I woke up and I couldn't remember what I dreamt about. Point is, I did dream, and I haven't been dreaming. I can't remember the last time I dreamt. But my dream last night was an anxiety dream of some kind. And here's the thing: we don't really understand what dreaming does, like psychophysiologically, like what it's for, what it does. And I wonder if partly what you're doing when you're dreaming is like processing emotions and stuff. And if you're smoking and you're not dreaming, because that's what happens, guys, you don't get that REM sleep, that you don't get the same levels of REM sleep that you would if you were sober. And that's the restful part of your sleep. And who knows what is going on psychologically when you're doing that. And so what you're describing is, let's say, not having processed any anxiety in the last 15 years. And then you let yourself dream, and it's all that processing is happening now. So you're having these ridiculous, terrible anxiety dreams because it's like condensed.
Yeah.
You think there's any truth in that?
Maybe. I also think that I'm just like at a point in my life where I have a lot of anxiety about things. Just like having lived my whole life not making the best decisions, and just like the way the economy is now. And it's like, I would like to buy a house, and I don't know if I'm ever going to be fucking able to, you know? And a lot of that is my fault. 100%. A lot of that is my fault. But a lot of it is not my fault too. Like I don't control the economy, you know? So yeah, I just have a lot of, and I mean, there's more to it than that, but, yeah, I don't know how much of it is like having not processed because I'm smoking and not dreaming, and how much of it is just, I've got a lot of anxiety, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Could be. I don't think that that's a ridiculous theory that you have. That very well could be.
Yeah.
But I will say that, yeah, I've been sleeping like a fucking log.
Yeah.
And I wake up, and when I was smoking regularly, I like would wake up in the morning and just be like, you know, like I feel like shit.
Yep.
I'm so fucking tired.
I feel that like that today. So keep going. Yeah.
I don't really feel like that anymore. I feel pretty good in the mornings.
Did it take some time? Like, did it take, like a couple weeks of normal sleep before you started feeling that way? Or was it like
not really? It was a few days, you know, like for the weed to process out of my system. But, and then I feel like I adapted pretty quickly and started just like sleeping.
Yeah.
And that REM sleep where you dream is the most restful sleep. So I think that when you start dreaming again, like, okay, things are getting back to normal, you know?
And when you sleep, I'm just like regurgitating pieces of information I've heard in a million different places. I can't really point to any sources here, but when you sleep, that's when your body's doing all the healing and like cleaning out repair and all that stuff. Yeah. But one of the things that also happens is like cleaning out your brain, like, now I'm just going to start saying words I don't understand. Amyloid plaques and shit that form in your brain that cause Alzheimer's, or they believe that less and less as time goes on. But there's things that happen in your brain. I just wonder if you aren't getting REM sleep, if there's a connection between the memory stuff that I'm bringing up and just the like maintenance that happens when you're dreaming, like, when you're sleeping well.
Yeah.
And like doctors say over and over and over again, everywhere you look, how important sleep is. It's like it's being emphasized more in medicine, how important restful sleep is.
Yeah. Yeah. At 100%. Obviously sleep is very important. And I'm like pretty positive that smoking weed is bad for sleep at this point.
Totally.
Because like I said, I just feel so much more rested in the mornings. Sometimes I'm still tired because every now and then I'll stay up a little bit later than I mean to, and I don't get as much sleep as I should. But even still, I would say like 5 hours of not being high sleep is better than a full 8 of being high. And honestly, I think I have a lot. it's interesting that weed has been so important for you to get to sleep, because I feel like, first of all, even the last like couple years, I'm just fucking tired at the end of the day. You know, like I'm ready to go to sleep.
Yeah.
But when I was smoking, it was, even though I was like really, really tired, it was harder for me to get to sleep.
To fall asleep.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Whereas now, give me 5 minutes of like laying in my bed, and even if I'm like trying to like read something on my phone, I'm falling asleep, dude.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people as they get older, and we're starting to get older, they have less and less, they have more and more trouble falling asleep or staying asleep. And for you to be able to just conk yourself right out, that's tremendous. But I do want to say, every time that I've taken a break, and I've done it for tolerance reasons, I've done it, like we talked about earlier, every time I've done it, I don't sleep well for 3 nights. And that's been the pattern. The first night, I cannot fall asleep. I can be tired. I can be like in my mind, just begging myself to just let yourself fall asleep. Like, I'm pleading with myself, and I cannot, whatever that is, when you're starting to fall asleep, you can never quite pinpoint the moment you fall asleep, because that's when you fall asleep. It's like, sometimes you feel like you're getting close to that beautiful moment where the lights turn off.
Oh, yeah.
And I just can't get there.
Yeah.
So that lasts for 3 days. And then afterwards, my sleep is pretty normal going forward. So this time around, what I did was, my wife takes CBD drops, not all the time, but how she has like high quality CBD drops that sometimes she uses for sleep. And I took them, and I slept no problem. So it actually allowed me to not suffer those 3 nights of without sleep, to get past it, to get back to a normal state. And the last 2 nights, I had no CBD and I had no pot, and I slept fine. So if anybody is finding, and I know you don't really have that same problem, like if you stop smoking, it doesn't affect your sleep. But if anybody listening, if you're inspired by this, and you're one of those people that resists taking a break because it's going to mess with your sleep, CBD drops, man. I'm telling you, it worked like a charm for me. Yeah. I do feel kind of groggy and not great when I take the CBD. Like, I don't know why so many people rave about that, especially for sleep. But it did help me, man. I was able to get over that. I literally avoided the suffering.
Have you been taking them like every night?
Just those 3 nights, then I stopped. Yeah.
That's good. Because I honestly, I'm skeptical of like even CBD and stuff like that at this point. Like, I know that there are benefits, but we talked in this last hour and almost 10 minutes about how there are benefits to smoking weed. 100% there are benefits.
Yeah.
But what are the costs,
Yeah.
And honestly, I wrestle with whether I will ever smoke again, to be honest with you. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to treat it like I do with alcohol. Like, I don't drink most of the time, but every few months I'll be like, I want to have some beers, So I think maybe, but I honestly feel more of a pull to drink on occasion than I do right now of smoking. Yeah. Like at the moment, I'm like, I really don't know if I'm ever going to smoke again.
Interesting. I have some ice cold Christmas beers upstairs.
Yeah, well, I'm keto, so I can't be drinking, especially Christmas beers. Although I do love them,
dude.
I think around Christmas I might take a little break and have some beers again.
My family's coming up for Thanksgiving, and I don't know. I'm sure I've talked about this. Some people who listen regularly will already know this, but my dad's he's got all kinds of health problems, advanced cancer, and he's not supposed to even be alive. So he's in rough shape, but he's hanging in there. He's a fighter, but he smokes for pain because he needs it. And when he visits, he smokes a lot.
Yeah.
So when he's going to come up for Thanksgiving, and I feel like I could say no and not do it with him, but I'm probably going to smoke with him. Yeah. I'm kind of like giving myself permission to do that. Maybe I shouldn't, but
why do you think that you will? Do you think that he'll be like bothered by if you say no?
No, but I think that he will be less likely to say, hey, can we go smoke? Because I'm in pain. He's going to be less likely to say that if I don't, because usually when he comes up, I'm like every 30 minutes, I'm like, you want to go smoke? And we'll go in the other room. So I think if I say, oh, I'm not smoking today, but I filled up the bong, it's in there for you. You can have it, whenever you want. He would be less likely to smoke and less likely to ask me, I just want him to have a.
Yeah, I understand that completely, especially the scenario that your dad is in, the reason that he's doing it. But I would encourage you to try not to. Like, if you can find any way to mitigate that feeling for him, to where if you can find any way to make him feel like, hey, do it whenever you want to, I'll go in the room with you, whatever. I think you should try not to, but I also do completely understand. I wouldn't really blame you.
Yeah, no, I probably could just go in there with him.
Because I just wonder, like, if you say, all right, yeah, I'll smoke when my dad's here. It's like, are you going to stop when your dad leaves?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
The thing you brought up about beer, that's been my issue. Like, for the last, I don't know, year, like I've been trying to get my weight back under control, get my health back under control. And I've been I lost like 60 pounds. I've been pretty successful.
Yeah.
But I wasn't allowing myself any alcohol at all.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't allowing myself any starchy carbs or sugar. I was like being really good with my diet. Then the Halloween came around and the Halloween beers came around, and then I started drinking the pumpkins. And then the Christmas beers follow right behind the pumpkins. And,
they do.
And then my wife brings me a freaking case of Christmas ale from Costco, and it's like half gone. Every day I come home and I'm thinking about the goddamn Christmas ale. And you have like 2 8% Christmas ales, you're feeling pretty fucking good, Kyle.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially if you haven't eaten much that day, which is usually the case for me. And then once you have 2, you're having 3, man. And you might even have a 4th.
Beer. I will say, at this point in my life, I like beer more than I like weed. Because smoking, there's really nothing enjoyable about the smoking of the weed.
Yeah.
Whereas beer is delicious and it's fucking fun. It's fun. Like, I don't know. I definitely am much more gung-ho about the idea of never smoking again than I am about never drinking again.
Yeah.
But like I said, that guy who was on Tucker Carlson, he said that drinking is just as bad. And like this idea that's been floated around that, a little bit of alcohol is good for you. He said it's complete bullshit.
Yeah. I worry about that, man, because my wife is in tremendous shape.
Yeah.
But she's a wine drinker, man.
Yeah,
and it's not a little.
Yep.
And she doesn't take breaks,
Yeah. So like stuff like that, I do wonder, like, people have been drinking wine forever.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if we could have gone back, 1,000 years and gone to, some heavily wine drinking area and taken a brain scan machine with us.
Yeah.
What's going on? Is it the wine? Is it something else? I mean, that doctor says that it's like highly correlated.
Yeah.
Like just looking at the brain scans, he can tell you're doing one of these 3 or 4 things,
Well, that thing about the REM sleep, I can't remember what doctor it was. I think it was probably a Rogan episode once upon a time. And they said the same thing about alcohol as weed. They said, if you drink before you go to sleep, like, you have a night out drinking, your REM sleep is going to be the same as if you smoke. You're not going to get good sleep.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt about it. If you've ever drank, too much, that's true. Your sleep is absolute garbage.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something to it. But daily drinkers and daily smokers do not get sufficient REM sleep. And I had one of those Aura rings for a while, and it was spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Aura ring was always like, you're not getting enough REM sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird, man.
I can't believe we talked for an hour and 13 minutes about marijuana.
Yeah. It's a good topic, we got a lot of mileage out of it. But so there, like I said, there is a time when I'm playing video games, which I don't really do that much anymore. The last 2 weeks I've been playing a little bit more.
Red Dead?
Grand Theft Auto mostly.
Grand Theft Auto.
And I think that maybe when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, which is supposed to be in about a year, maybe I'll smoke again. Maybe I'll because I'm literally going to take a full week off to play Grand Theft Auto 6 when it comes out. because I got PTO and I barely use it for anything, so might as well. So maybe I'll smoke then. But I'm not even convinced of that.
You let me know, man. I'll take a day off. I'll come over and I'll come over with you. I haven't played a video game since 2019. We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
I just haven't. But I think there's something similar. Like, how I said, if I was smoking, what I watch on TV is very different. If I'm not high, I want to watch something that's heady. I want to watch something that's intellectual or something that has a complicated story like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Or if I was high, I wouldn't be able to follow it enough. If I'm high, I'm watching like, Family Guy or something. Like it's something mindless. I think there's something similar to that with video games. If I smoke, I'm going to enjoy the video game way more. I'm equating that to watching cartoons rather than watching like a period movie or something or a documentary.
Yeah,
I love documentaries, and you know what? I have to pump the brakes on that because I like documentaries just as much high as sober.
Yeah, I agree.
Nature documentaries, dude.
I do think that I don't really give a fuck about nature documentaries. I think that they're kind of like boring and it's like cliche high stuff, Oh, the eagle, bro. He's fucking swooping down into the water, bro.
What about like the space documentaries, though?
Less and less.
Oh, dude, you give me a good quantum physics documentary. Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's definitely, because a few years ago, like when we started this podcast, I was right there with you on that kind of stuff. And I don't know what it is. Something has definitely changed in me where I don't care about that kind of stuff anymore. It's really not even interesting to me. I don't know what it is.
Don't care about nature.
Yeah. No, I mean, particularly about like that kind of theoretical physics stuff. I don't give a fuck about it, man. I don't want to think about it at all. It's boring to me. But I wonder, like, there definitely was a point where when I was high, I would want to watch like some heady stuff, like there was like some kind of a mode that I would be in where it's like, oh, let's watch something that'll make me like think,
Yeah.
And that got less and less, it became more of just like, what can I watch that's like silly and goofy,
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know, but like I said, now, even though I'm not smoking, I really have zero interest in that kind of stuff. I have more interest in like, I don't know, like real world philosophical things, like this theoretical space particle. I just don't fucking care, man.
Yeah.
I don't think that me having a better understanding of it is going to benefit anything. I don't know. That's just,
you just don't desire an understanding.
Not really.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, it's just like,
I do, man. I just like mystery, and it doesn't matter if it's like in the realm of science or in the realm of like, a cryptozoology. Like I just like a good mystery, man. Like,
there's
something about that I like.
Yeah, I don't know, not so much the cryptozoology thing, but like I'm interested in like the mysteries of faith, that kind of stuff I think is interesting.
I just listened to this guy talk about. Have you heard any of these? What do they call them? They call this like a specific kind of Christian miracle, a Eucharistic miracle. Have you heard of this?
Mm-hmm.
There was some example. I think it was in Mexico of a mass, a Catholic mass, and they were in the middle of this mass, and they consecrated the host in nomine Patri et Filii et Spiritus Sancti, and there was something in the blood or something in the wine, and I don't remember the details of the story, but essentially they stopped the communion. They took that sample of wine and they sent it for testing independently in different areas, and it turned out that whatever this thing was that appeared in the wine was human blood, because they found hemoglobin and white blood cells in it. And then as they continued to study it, it wasn't just blood, it was heart tissue. It was specifically heart tissue from one of the ventricles that they found. Anyway, it's just this crazy story, because because the only way that heart tissue gets in the wine is if somebody had a human heart to take tissue from and stick in there. And there was all these people witnessing it who said that it just appeared. They saw it appear in the wine.
Yep.
Anyway, that kind of blew my mind. I don't know how much credence I give it, but like I said, I love a good mystery.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't not give it credence, you know? And had I been there, maybe I would be more apt to believe. I mean, I'm not apt to not believe, you know, whatever, man. But yeah, I'm much more open to that kind of stuff than I used to be. You know, I think that a lot of people would be like, oh, you know, give me a break.
I'm super skeptical, but I'm not totally close to the idea.
Yeah.
I'd like to know what the explanation is.
It's a miracle.
That kind of presumes that there's a reasonable explanation when maybe there isn't. But I'd also like to know if they've, you know, like explored all the possibilities, and if they come up empty-handed, that's fascinating, man.
Yeah,
it's fascinating in and of itself.
Yep. Well, what else we got on the list?
Oh boy, we got a bunch.
We got 40 minutes left.
Well, I kind of been spending a little bit too much time watching debates with Christians and Muslims. This came up before.
I started watching that one you sent me a link to.
Oh yeah.
It was Andrew Wilson versus some Muslim guy.
Yeah.
And man, Andrew was taken, and you know, this is going to sound like I'm like criticizing Andrew, but I'm not at all. Andrew was taking the meanness up to level 10.
Yeah.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah.
He was just roasting this guy. So you can elaborate.
So I think this was like DebateCon or something, and this was recently. So if you guys look it up, there's a bunch of debates that were there. Andrew Wilson was just one of them, and I watched some others. But yeah, I can't remember the other guy's name. But it opens up with the Muslim guy wearing his little fez cap, whatever it's called, and he kind of looks like a white fella, I think. But he was a Muslim scholar of some kind, and he gives this like really thoughtful, you know, like if he
tries to be nice in the beginning too. He's like, I'm glad that Andrew's not a Zionist. We don't have to. I hope this doesn't descend into us being mean to each other. And then Andrew just like immediately.
So just to tee it up, the Muslim guy gets to argue first. So he gives his opening argument, and it's like a PowerPoint presentation, and it's thought out. And he basically says, Andrew can only argue in one of two ways, and he tries to kind of get in front of Andrew's arguments by trying to disprove either direction he's going to go, and give him this thoughtful presentation. It was like, you know, whatever, like 15, 20 minutes. And then he passes it over to Andrew, and Andrew's just like, well, you know, you might think that I was going to go in one of these ways, but he was like, really, I only have to go in one direction, which is that Muslims have no problem inbreeding. That is a huge problem in Pakistan and in lots of Arab countries, and
pretty much every single one.
And that does nothing but drive IQ down. So you've got a bunch of dumb people who are telling me that their God is and that their religion is right, but you have an average IQ of 70, and I can't fucking believe anything you say. You know, I would be the dumb one listening to you. And he just totally bypassed every single thing the guy said and did not relent for a second.
Yeah, it was brutal.
He had 1 point. 1 point.
It's a hard point to get around.
You guys fuck your cousins, and you're trying to bring that culture everywhere else. And how is that good for society? It's not. End of story.
And like, look at the societies that you come from. Why do you people want to leave those societies and come to Christian societies? Why do Christian societies around the world exceed you in pretty much every way? You know, a great example of it is what's going on in the Middle East with Israel right now. I am not, you know, if you regularly watch the podcast, you know, I'm not particularly a fan of Israel. But boy, you wonder why the Jewish people in Israel are so much more advanced. And like every single time any of the Muslim nations around Israel try to give Israel shit. I mean, part of it is that Israel has the backing of America. That cannot be understated. That is a huge part of it.
Sure.
But even if what I wish would happen, which is that America would say, fuck you, Israel, you're on your own from this point. I still believe that Israel would be pretty good for a long time.
Yeah, I think so.
Because there are Muslim people that I like. I'm not trying to be a dick here, but they're pretty backwards places, you know. There's not a lot going on. You know, Andrew was like, it's donkey pull cart. You know, that's the that's like the extent of their technology. I mean, you know, I know that some of them have a little bit better than that, but not much, man.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like when the European settlers came over here, and it's like the American Indians, like not much going on, you know.
Yeah.
Just not a whole lot in the way of innovation. It's kind of like they found this way that works for them, and they just keep doing that forever.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, man, and I, you know, like when you first introduced me to Andrew Wilson, this was you've been, you know, part of that scene for a long time before he was, you know, before he blew up to the degree that he has, and I resisted, because of his debate style, because I told you, like, he it never seemed to me like Andrew really wanted to come to an understanding or a you know, to figure out where you have common ground. He just wanted to destroy you as much as possible.
Something about watching Muslims get destroyed does it for you, huh?
I have to admit to that. Yes. Yeah. Yes. I wanted to see a really good ass whooping in that case, and I was gleeful about it. Even though under any other circumstance, I don't think I would react that way. So let's talk about that, because I'm just going to be honest. I was happy about it. I consider myself to be a pretty open person. I had a dear Muslim friend for many years that we've lost touch over the years, but and I went to high school with, there was one Muslim family in my high school, and they were great people. The kids were great. I didn't know the parents, but the kids were great. So like I don't have any reason to dislike Muslim people or Arab people or anything like that. But when I see over and over, I don't know if this is from the Quran or what, but Islam will enter every house. And what's going on in England and what's going on in Dearborn here and stuff like that. And then I understand the history of Islam as a conquering religion. And they're continuing to say Islam will enter every house. Well, that feels like a fucking threat to me, Kyle. It feels like a threat to me, my family, my culture, my country.
Yeah.
And so when Andrew Wilson did what he did, I was fucking gleeful. I don't know what else to say about that. I'm not proud of it. I'm also not ashamed of it.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. I think that now I'm starting to see that the anger that I can't control starting to creep up. I feel that the Quran, the more I learn about it, the more I don't respect it, because the Quran it's made up of stories from other religions, including Christianity, and there are stories in the Quran that come from Gnostic beliefs, Christian beliefs that were from the 3rd, 4th century. They're not original Christian ideas. They're not accepted by Christianity, but they're accepted by Islam.
Yeah.
And at the same time, Islam is saying that their Quran is the word of God, that it's infallible, that it's perfect, that you know, it's not false in any way, that it comes directly from God to man. And if that's the case, everything in there should be accurate. It should, and this is what they say, it corrects the errors of other religions, including Christians and Jews. Well, you can say that, and then at the same time, you say that, you know, the claim you make about Jesus not being divine comes from the Apocalypse of Peter, which is a Gnostic book. It, like, literally, it says in I wrote this down in the second treatise of the Great Seth, which is a Gnostic book. It says, Jesus says, I did not die in reality, but in appearance. It was another Simon who bore the cross. This is exactly what the Muslims say. You know, it's almost like they had all these stories being told on the caravan routes from the east to the Mediterranean and back and forth. They had all of these stories going around, and they cobbled them together into this book. So it sort of seems like plagiarism to me. I don't know how else to say it. The Quran seems to be largely plagiarism. And one question that I've always asked when I study religion, especially with the monotheistic Abrahamic religions, it's what does Christianity teach that Judaism doesn't? If Christianity is supposed to be a reform of Judaism, what does it teach that Judaism doesn't? And the same thing with Islam. What does Islam teach that Christianity doesn't? What Islam teaches that Christianity doesn't is that Jesus wasn't divine. That's not a Christian idea. At the same time, the Quran says that the Gospels and the Torah are legitimate scriptures, are legitimate revelations from God, and should be honored and believed, which is why they accept Jesus and call him the Christ and all of this stuff and say he was born of a virgin like we do, without realizing that all of that means something that they insist it doesn't mean. It's like somebody read holy books from other people where they didn't understand the context and didn't understand the culture and came up. It's like Mormonism. That's what I would compare it to. It's like Mormonism. It's a bastardization. And what is it? What is the improvement? What is the revelation that improves the Christian message that we're all supposed to accept? The Christian message that says Jesus is God. Okay. The message that it corrects is exactly that. It pulls the carpet out from under Christianity and says, no, Jesus isn't God. So there's so much, like in the Quran, it says to believe it, what the Gospels say, and then turns around and says Jesus isn't God. You see, it's full of contradiction everywhere you look.
Yeah.
On top of that, you have Muhammad that is seen as the one to emulate, right? The way that Christians, at least Protestant Christians, maybe all Christians, the kind of the what would Jesus do scenario, we look at Jesus as an example of how to be if we could be perfect. Well, those are two very goddamn different examples, Kyle. To be as Muhammad was is to be in a constant state of warfare, to change the scriptures to suit yourself whenever you need to, right? So Islam is all about peace until he has to go to war. Mm-hmm. Then it's all about war. It's accept the Jews and Christians until they won't accept you. Then it's kill them. It's you can only have 4 wives until Muhammad wants to have more. Then he gets a special revelation that says he can.
Yeah. Then
his son-in-law has a beautiful wife, and Muhammad wants to have sex with her, and he can't marry his son-in-law's or adopted son's wife. They're already married. So guess what? He has a revelation that says it's okay for him to do that. It's full of nonsense, Kyle.
Yep. Nonsense that you would have to be like an 80 IQ person to buy into. To be like, yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that. It's like, yeah, I mean,
this is the thing about the Trinity that gives Muslims so much trouble. I have to wonder, is it that their monotheism is so strict that they simply cannot allow any sort of manyness going on? Or is it the fact that they cannot wrap their minds around how something can be one and many?
Yeah. They're not capable of that kind of philosophical abstract thinking. It's just like too much for them.
That's a possibility, man.
It's a serious possibility.
A serious possibility. And that is going to enter every house. That is going to conquer and replace the culture that built the fucking Western world.
Honestly, I'm not even really worried about it, because I think that Islam is doomed to fail, because I mean, you know, we're like treading racial lines here, but I'm just going to be straight up. I think white people are not dumb enough to fall for it, to be honest with you. Now, what they're doing is they're taking advantage of the new white person religion, which is like a liberal tolerance. Mm-hmm. You know, they're taking advantage of that and flooding our countries with their, you know, terrible people. So I think that pivoting back towards Christianity away from liberal tolerance would be the best thing that we could do to combat the rise of Islam. Honestly, there are hot spots in America where it's bad, but I'm really not that worried about Islam here in the United States. If I was in multiple countries in Europe, I would be much more concerned about it. But like here, there's like some Somali areas and some Arab areas, but for the most part, it's not that big of a deal. If all of the Arabs in the United States decided they wanted to start some shit, the local police force could round them up and be like, get the fuck out of here, Now, again, like Paris, the UK, it's a real problem. But even so, I think that they could, if they just decided that we're gonna get rid of this liberal tolerance and we're gonna do what needs to be done, I think that they could clean that problem up pretty quickly. I mean,
the Quran says that that semen is produced in the spine or between the spine and the belly or something like that. Like it has medical facts that are fucking nonsense.
Yeah.
But it's the perfect revelation that's infallible. Are you kidding me?
Sucks.
And at the same time, while we're talking about the example of how to live up to be someone like Muhammad or to live up to be someone like Jesus, this is as controversial as it is. This has been talked about ad nauseum. Jesus is somebody that was the love your neighbor, turn the other cheek. Muslim. Well, Muhammad is a warlord.
Mm-hmm.
He also had a 6-year-old wife. A 6-year-old wife.
He didn't have sex with her till she was 9.
Oh, so, okay, great. At least he waited till she was 9.
Yeah.
So what kind of an example? Like,
not a good one. It's not good. For sure.
Not good.
We had talked about one time, I go on and on about the Jews. I think that I really do think, like, to touch back on what I was saying about Islam in America not being that much of a problem. You go on X and you have all these Jewish people, their accounts, and they, like Laura Loomer, Ayal Jacobi, all of these people, they want us to focus on Islam in America so badly. And I wonder why. I wonder why they want us to focus on that. And we actually talked about this at one point via text message. It's like a lot of Zionist Jews in America want you to focus on Islam, and a lot of Christian Zionists or Americans who care about Israel and seem to prioritize Israel above America. They're like, why are you concentrating on the Jews? You need to be concentrating on Islam. It's like Islam's not a really that big of a problem. And I also reject the idea that I can't concentrate on more than one thing at a time. Like, is Islam, if you live in Dearborn, yeah, I bet you Islam's a real fucking problem. If you live in Minneapolis, Minnesota, I bet you, yeah, you're probably worried about all the Somalian people.
Yeah.
And the calls to prayer that get broadcast all the time.
That is, oh my God, dude, that is maddening.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being a non-Muslim living in a place that was allowed to do that?
Off.
So pissed off.
But I'm pissed off about the fact that as a nation, we are taking care of Israel hand and foot when we need to be concentrating on ourselves. And it pisses me off when people like Laura Loomer are like, why are you concentrating on? Because who is in our Congress advocating for the Muslim world all the time? What Muslim organization is giving Congress people hundreds of thousands of dollars? And, it just really, really fucking irritates me.
I understand the point you're making about the Israel lobby, but I wonder what the reality is of the Islam lobby, because I wonder if there is. I'm
100% sure there is. I'm 100% sure. But the idea that it's anywhere near, think about the American people. Let's not even talk about Congress. Think about the perception of Islam versus the perception of Judaism for the average person in America.
Mm-hmm.
We're pretty opposed to Islam.
Yep.
Like, nobody really wants Islam. Like, people get pretty uncomfortable when you start talking about Sharia law and stuff like that.
Absolutely, as they should.
Yeah, absolutely. But what about the undeniably more powerful Israel lobby. 100, like you can say, what about the Muslim lobby? And yeah, like I said, I don't doubt that there is that to some extent. But are we imagining for a single fucking second that it's anywhere near as powerful as the Israel lobby?
Not at all.
I mean, it's hard for me to like, spew out all of the information off the top of my head. But if you want to, go watch some Nick Fuentes clips. He'll lay it all out for you very clearly. And it's not just people in politics. It's people in industry. It's like the second richest person in the world, in the world. Ellison, the guy, he's like a tech guy. He's a massive support. He's an American, but a massive supporter of the IDF, a massive supporter of Israel. Bought TikTok, and it bought like CBS or something like that. And it's just, they're clearly just going to trying to combat this slow roll towards what's happening in America, where people, I think, largely think it has to do with this Israel-Gaza war. It's like,
yeah,
back in the day, people could kind of get away with a lot of stuff, but now I can watch you fucking killing innocent people in 4K.
Yep.
It's a lot harder for them to lie about it. So, like, again, I'm not thrilled about, honestly, if we could deport, this is maybe controversial, but if we could deport a bunch of Arab Muslims, I would be totally fine with it. And I mean, citizens, to be perfectly honest with you, people who like anchor baby type people, get the fuck out of here.
We talked about this before, but the Jews and the Muslims are similar in one important way, and it's not that they share an Abrahamic religion; it's that they do not assimilate. It's seemingly a bigger problem for the Muslims than the Jews, because the Jews like have their little enclave communities like we used to in the early days of the country. You have your Germans living here and your Slovaks living there, and so on and so forth. And they kind of do that. The Jews kind of have their little areas where they live, walking distance from their synagogues and things like that. And the Muslims do the same thing. They refuse to assimilate, but the difference is Jews don't seem to want to conquer. It's very difficult to become Jewish if you want to convert, but Islam, they want you to convert as a religious. It's their religious obligation to convert the world. By force.
By whether you choose to or not. Now, I think the thing that's different is that Jews do not want you to convert.
That's right. They don't seem to.
And I would say that it is, I think that it's almost more insidious, because I think to some level, the Jews don't want you to convert because they are the chosen people. They are better than you. And boy, will they fucking tell you it if you give them the opportunity to.
I was surprised to learn that. And it didn't really hit me until I saw those videos of these Orthodox Jews in Jerusalem spitting on Christians, walking by. I still have cognitive dissonance over it. And when they were interviewing them and they asked these Orthodox Jews in Jerusalem, would you rather pray in a mosque or a Christian church? And 100% of them said in a mosque, because at least they worship the same God as us. Like I still don't quite know how to process that.
I agree. They both worship demons. So
I do want to say one other thing, because I've been watching more of these Christian Islam debates, and I've been clicking on things on social media that I don't usually click on. And now my X feed is filled with pro-Islam propaganda. Filled. I cannot tell you how many videos that I see of giant groups of like white kids on college campuses, and the video is about how this big group of people all converted to Islam. Look how great this is. Or this like beautiful blonde white woman with big, beautiful blue eyes talking about how in Islam, women don't have to work. But if they do, they get to keep all the money. It belongs to them. And it's just video after video of all this, it's always white people. It's always showing white people converting or praising Islam.
Yeah.
My feed is absolutely brimming with it. That's propaganda designed to convert white people to Islam. What in the fuck? You know?
Yeah.
Look how good it is. Here's another one that was just recently in the news. I think it was in the news. It was about a woman who was calling all these different churches because she needed to get formula for her
I saw
baby.
that.
And none of the Christians would help her. She calls one mosque and they ask her, what type do you need? Let's get you taken care of.
Yeah.
We're, brimming with that.
Yeah.
Who's doing that?
I don't even believe that story is true.
I don't believe it for a fucking minute.
Yeah.
I don't believe that those big groups of people that all converted to Islam are real. I don't believe that white woman with the blue eyes praising Islam is real. It's all fake. It's all fake.
Yeah. So first of all, I'll tell you that Christian churches, if you go to a food pantry that's run by a Christian church, they're not going to tell you no. They're going to give you what they have. So that's bullshit, straight up. Now, if you call and they might be like, you need to come here. They're not doing any kind of like life check to make sure that you really need assistance. If you say that you need help, they're going to help you for the most part. But if you get some random call, it just seems like bullshit. It seems like somebody fishing for exactly what that story was fishing for, even if it's real. And I also don't believe that they called a mosque and the mosque said, yeah, let's take care of it. Bullshit. I don't believe it. I don't believe that any of these phone calls actually happened.
Yeah. I don't like being manipulated, Kyle. And I feel like I'm constantly being jerked around.
Yeah.
Propaganda everywhere I look. And I'm not just talking about social media, everywhere. I'm angry about it.
There's a lot of it going around, that's for sure. I see a lot of propaganda on X too, and it just makes you wonder, why am I seeing that? Why? What am I? Because I don't feel like I'm going around interacting with that kind of stuff.
No.
No.
So
why is it getting forced down my throat?
I wish I knew.
It makes me, we touched on this a little bit before we even started the podcast. It makes me not really trust Elon. Why is your algorithm feeding me all of this shit, Elon? What is that all about? And then there's the AI thing.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, is 15 minutes enough to do Elon and AI? Okay.
I mean,
let's do it.
Enough.
See what we can do. All right, go ahead.
I just wonder what you think, because you're a big free market guy. Mm-hmm. And I just wonder how you feel about Elon saying that because of AI in 10, 15 years, money is going to be obsolete and people aren't going to have to work unless they want to. What do you think about that? What is the difference between a government saying we're going to do that sort of thing with, what's the word I'm looking for?
Programs.
Universal basic income and stuff like that. Yeah. The government programs, and an oligarch essentially saying the same thing.
I'll tell you what's different about it. In one case, it's centrally controlled, taxpayer funded, utopia, which is going to be doomed to failure because it's always failed. In Elon Musk's case, it seems to be what he's saying is that technology is going to change the face of economics and human privation to such a degree that we're going to have so much abundance that everybody is essentially going to be wealthy, and it's not coming from the government. It's coming from the cooperation of individuals and businesses, consumers, and that seems like a fundamental difference.
That seems to me like, as opposed to the government doing it, that it's a corporation doing it. And I don't see how that ends a whole lot better. I see, why am I supposed to believe that Elon wants the best for the world, or that Elon's successor is going to have the,
Yeah.
It's to me, it seems like it would be profit driven. And what incentive do I have to believe that they actually want these utopian ideas that they're talking about?
I do think there's some holes in this that I don't have answers to, and I wonder how Elon would respond to it. Let's just suppose that technology gets to such a place that we have all the food we could ever want. We have everybody has 3D printers in their house that can print anything you want. You need a new iPhone, boom, you print it. Like, what if technology gets to such a degree that we have everything we could ever want? The question then that's unanswered is, let's say we have all the food that we need to feed everybody anything they want at any given time. Who doles it out? Where does it come from? Who's in control of that? Like, I don't know the answers to any of that question. And that, when you put it the way you did about saying, rather than a government doing it, now you have corporations or a corporation doing it. Well, obviously, the idea of some sort of fascist, because that's what we're talking about here now, at least that's a possibility. I don't think there's answer. I haven't heard how Elon would address that, what the answers are. It's one thing to say the future's going to be such that we all have more than we could ever need. Okay, well, where is all that stuff, and who gets it, and how do you get it? And like, if it's not a matter of free exchange, how do I get all this free stuff?
Yeah. What incentive does? So if I need food, I still have to go somewhere to get the food. The food's not growing at my house. I'm
Right.
not producing cattle at my house. I don't have a chicken farm at my house. So I still have to go somewhere to get the eggs, get the chicken, get the flour, get the peas, the cans of peas, So when I show up to the place, what incentive do they have to give it to me? Or what, like if it's coming in like the Amazon trucks, what incentive? Why are they bringing it to me?
Yeah. Right. What incentive do they have to produce the stuff if I don't have money to buy it? Like, if I don't need money, right? I don't have anything to offer of value. Why do they produce the food and the products? Why even do it? There's no motivation to do it.
And even if the motivation is, well, we need to feed people so that they aren't rioting, like I can see that as a legitimate, if you're in control, you don't want people rioting. So you need to keep them fed. I can see that. But if I want to eat steak and shrimp and they're doling out gruel, to everyone, what incentive do they have to give me steak and shrimp and not gruel?
None.
And I don't understand. That like, that's a common thing. That's like a common criticism of like communism with the government. I don't understand why that is not true with a corporation.
Because the corporation has competition. That's really the only thing. It's in order to be successful, it has to produce more value than its competitors.
Do these giant corporations really have competitors though?
Less and less.
Yeah.
Less and less.
Like, who's competing with Amazon?
Good question. Nobody.
And like in the AI race, there's definitely some competition, there's X, or there's XAI and Chat GPT and Google Gemini and all these various, but how long until those start eating each other up,
Yeah.
And honestly, when you're talking about some kind of like highly intelligent artificial, this like entity, I don't know, man, even if there are like five or six of them that never really eat each other up, how much competition is really going on there? I don't know what competition in that way means.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a trend to consolidate, in all these mega mergers and things. The airlines and credit card companies and financial services, they're all buying each other up and there's less and less competition. Yeah. I don't understand how any of this works without market incentives, because the only example I've ever seen in my life of a system that works is one that uses market incentives. So I really don't know what Elon is suggesting. If I don't have to work and there's an abundance of things, I have no money, I have nothing of value to exchange, you're just going to give it to me?
Yeah, that sounds like that Klaus Schwab from COVID, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy about it. And that sounds a lot like that.
Yeah, in some ways. And I really like Elon. I don't know him well enough, but
Yeah.
there's been moments, there's been things he's done and things he said where I just feel like if that was characteristic of his personality and his values, he's a good guy. buying Twitter to save the country, to allow to prevent the Democrat a permanent takeover of government, because to suggest that wasn't in the cards is fucking stupid. It absolutely was in the cards. And it still is a desire. I don't know if this is true of Republicans, maybe it is, but it's certainly true of Democrats. They would very much like to not have to compete anymore with Republicans. They would very much like to have a permanent, to be California and always win every time, and to be a uni-party thing. And I don't blame them necessarily. If you have an agenda that you want to carry out, you want to get rid of resistance to that agenda. I understand that. I don't know where I was going, Kyle. I spun off into the fucking wilderness.
To be perfectly honest, that's what I want. I mean, that's basically where I am politically. Like, I want the people that are more in line with my interests and my beliefs. I mean, it's called like soft authoritarianism. It's like what's going on in Hungary, what's going on in Russia. It's like, what I'm interested in is an orderly society that fucking works. And, you don't have white women getting doused with gasoline and burnt to death by some fucking black dude who's had 72 prior arrests.
I saw that. Jesus.
Yeah. Like, I don't think that Vladimir Putin is letting that kind of stuff happen. And I wish that we had a Vladimir Putin to some degree.
Or Viktor Orban. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, if you can give me that, I really don't care if the elections are fake.
If you can give me that, as well as a guarantee that level of authority doesn't get abused, then I'm on board. But I would trade a safe, clean, well-functioning society and all of that for, I would pay a heavy price for that. I would willingly pay a heavy price for that. But if you have a uni party and then they decide, well, I can't be fired now ever, so I'll do whatever I want. And now I'm gonna claim, right? What do they call damn it, I fucking my memory sucks. But from Braveheart, where the guy the Lord
Prima Nocta.
yeah. So if Viktor Orban is the fucking dictator and he decides to claim the right to have sex with all of our wives on our wedding night, just to give a ridiculous example, if you can guarantee me that kind of shit doesn't happen when they have power and can never lose it, but you can't guarantee.
Yeah,
that.
But you can't guarantee that with the system that we have now either. Like, I feel like there is no like system that is going to be able to guarantee that. Like, just look at what's been happening here. We have white women getting burnt to death in the streets, and nobody's fucking doing anything about it. And if you speak up about it, you're a racist.
Yep.
And I just don't think that guarantee that you're looking for is ever going to come from any political system. Like, the threat that the king is going to become a tyrant is always going to be there. And I think that if you try to, basically, I feel like my politics are coming to the point where I think if you try to fight against that you get what we have now. You sacrifice, you're worried about too much order and you allow chaos to take over. And I think that an excess of order is better than an excess of chaos.
Yeah, probably so. I think that, I hate to say this, but I think that this is the legitimate role of liberals in a society. That if the powerful people or whatever go too far, the legitimate role of liberals is to question and push back against that power. And if we had a dictatorial scheme with a conservative person who cleaned up the streets and got rid of the criminals and got rid of the drug addicts, and the moment, that's all great, I would support all that. The moment that dictator starts fucking our wives on our wedding night, we need liberals. We need them to be shouting in the streets. We need them to be protesting.
Yeah, but where do you draw that line at, though? Because obviously it's going to come way before Prima Nocta. Like, that's crazy. And I don't know. I just like what I was talking about with the corporations and the incentives. It's like, you don't want people out in the streets rioting, and maybe that's the incentive. Like, I know that in Russia, you're allowed to protest, but you're only allowed to protest so much, I don't
You
know,
know what?
man.
This is a question for you. In this hypothetical scenario where we have a uniparty Viktor Orban situation, do we still have a Second Amendment?
Yeah, I don't know. I would assume that is like ingrained in American culture, and even if it does go away, it's not going away for a long time. I don't think it can ever go away because weapons are proliferated in America.
Yeah.
Wait, you'll never be able to get rid of all the guns in America.
Maybe that's enough. Maybe the Second Amendment by itself and all the guns that we have already in this country and the fact that it's ingrained in our culture and identity, maybe that's enough to prevent the uniparty from becoming a totalitarian,
I honestly think that the idea of that would be appealing to Americans if somebody had the balls to propose it. Like some like serious kind of political figure.
yeah.
I think that a lot of people would be like, yeah, it would be nice if things were better.
And what if he's young and handsome too?
That helps.
What if he's
he's tall?
What if we get a Bukele of our own who's handsome and speaks well?
He's like, nice.
And he just comes out there and his whole fucking platform is, listen, we're gonna take away some rights that you didn't you're used to enjoying, but the downside of these rights that you're used to enjoying are all of this shit that we all hate that's ruining our culture, that people are shitting on the streets. Yep. The economy is fucked. There's corruption everywhere. We're going to get rid of all of that.
Yeah.
We're not fucking around. We're going to go through the growing pains. We're going to do it as quickly and as efficiently as we can, and everyone's life can get back to normal, but we're not fucking around. We're drawing a line in the sand. Who's with me? I think that could be a fucking powerful message.
Yeah, I think it could be too. I just don't know who the right person is to do that, because I'll tell you what, over the last, it's been, no, it hasn't been a year since he's been in the office yet, but it's just becoming clearer and clearer to me that it's not Trump. Like maybe things are going to turn around. He's still got a little more than 3 years to go. But boy, I'm just like skeptical, man. Just very skeptical about how things are going.
I'm hearing a lot of that. Yeah.
I still think that he's been a net positive for the United States. I wouldn't go so far as to say that I think he's like bad, but man, it's just not looking good. Like I don't see the desire to do things. Not the desire. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. I don't see the like will to do what needs to be done. And maybe they're like trying to build support in some way so that they can do it. Like these are the kind of like things that I try to tell myself so that I'm not just completely pessimistic. It's like maybe they're working towards it,
Yeah, yeah.
But honestly, like the government shutdown, I think that we should have ended the filibuster and just ended it. I think that it would have looked good if Trump could say, these Democrats, they don't want you to be eating. Some say that we have the perfect amount, and maybe it's the perfect amount. But I think it would have looked good if he could have been like, the Democrats are preventing you from getting the things that you need, and we're going to end it. And they wouldn't do it. The Republicans in Congress and Senate would not fucking do it. And I'm just like, I see a lot of that kind of stuff going on. It's like with the deportations and stuff, we're not deporting enough people. We need to be getting rid of more of these fucking people. Yep. And again, hopefully it ramps up. I understand that kind of stuff takes time, training people to do that kind of stuff. I understand that it takes time, but I would have liked to see a lot more of it at this point.
I had the deportation migration topic here to talk about, which we're kind of out of time, but I was watching, just before you got here, I was watching an interview with Piers Morgan on Patrick Bet-David's show, which is like the most boomer combination of people that I could have admitted 100%. To watching. But I was watching it anyway, and there's these lines that I keep hearing, and it's for all these people that are arguing about mass migration being good and trying to argue against deportations. Is they'll say, first of all, they keep trying to say this. They keep trying to say, we all agree we all agree.
Yeah, fuck you.
We all agree that if we catch illegal aliens here because they've committed a crime, they should be deported. But the presumption in that is, if an illegal alien hasn't committed a crime, it's perfectly fine that they can stay.
Yeah.
No,
you gotta go.
You gotta go.
Yep.
And so they're trying to push that. They're very, very sneaky propaganda way of trying to repeat that message over and over and over again. This is something that Lisa Ekman said. It's a repetition. You keep saying it and people will believe that it's intuitive and that it was their idea and that they agree with the people saying it because they've heard it 1,000 times. We do not all agree that if you haven't committed a crime, that you should be able to stay, first of all. Okay, the other thing that I wrote down, bitch, that's what I wrote down in my notes. That implies that illegals are okay as long as they don't commit crimes. They also continue to say, we act like these illegal aliens aren't paying taxes. They're citizens in good standing, paying taxes, contributing to society. I don't care. Yeah. I don't care if you're paying taxes. That doesn't mean that because you paid taxes, income taxes or sales taxes or whatever, that suddenly you get to be a citizen. Wrong. It doesn't fucking work that way. No. And if it does work that way, let's calculate what that price is. What is the price to become a citizen? How much taxes do you have to pay to get the fucking rights that we all get as actual citizens? I'm telling you, it's not the amount of money you've spent on sales tax, buying your fucking Wendy's on the fucking construction site every week.
That is like the idea that America is not a nation, that America is an economic zone. It's like, you just come in and you contribute the right amount and you're a citizen. It's like bullshit. We have an ethos. There is something that binds Americans together and makes them American that is not paying taxes.
No.
That's actually like, it's almost antithetical to Americanism. Like the Boston Tea Party was about taxes. It was about not paying taxes.
Yeah.
Now we've strayed far away from that, obviously. And I'm not even opposed to taxes like I used to be, but that's not what makes you an American. And
no. And how about the other line that they say is like, what about the illegals that have been here for 40 years and they have a family and blah, 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 blah. I'm like,
them and their family have to go.
Well, they're trying to make it out like if I've been here peacefully, illegally, but peacefully, cooperatively living and contributing, and I've been here for 40 years, it would be very unfair to rip me out of this home that I've made for myself.
But it's fair for me to have to pay for you.
Exactly. And to me, I think, no. This example isn't, you're not softening the blow by telling me this person's been here 30 years behind the scenes. You never even knew he was illegal. What's the deal?
Yeah,
no, that's worse.
Yeah, that means he's been mooching off of me for 30 years.
He's been here illegally for 30 fucking years.
He's been one of those little sucker fishes that's like swims along with the shark and eats its shit when it pops out. Yeah, that's what they are. Maybe that's like, the Nazis used to call the Jews rats. These fucking people are little hangers on. They're little sucker fishes that eat the shark poop. And to go back to the taxes, like, do some of them pay taxes? Sure.
Yes.
But paying taxes does not make you American, does not give you the right to be here. But the net of how much the immigrants, legal and illegal, are paying does not. They're taking more.
Way more.
And I am a person, I could probably be on some kind of government assistance. I don't make a ton of money, but I don't do it because I don't have to. I have too much pride for that, but I'm still paying for all of these the little sucker fishes. I'm the shark and they're the little sucker fishes. Fuck you. You all have to go. I don't care if we're deporting your 6-month-old baby. You're going.
Right. If you stayed here for 30 years illegally and had kids here and got them all used to accustomed to living in this first world place, how shitty, can you imagine? First of all, you're putting your family at risk because you could be deported at any time.
Yeah. Do
you know how irresponsible it is as a parent to say, I'm going to live in this country. I'm going to bring kids into the world into this country. And at any moment, if it's found out that I committed this crime to get in here, that I could literally lose all of this. That is a risk as a parent that you should never be willing to make.
Yeah.
I mean, it's completely I don't know what word I'm searching for.
It's crazy.
Unacceptable.
Yeah, it's unfathomable. To like, could you imagine putting your daughters into that sort of situation?
No.
It's like,
no.
Yeah, it's like maybe we have like a slightly higher level of material well-being, but at any second that could be taken away from us, and it is being taken away from them, and I'm glad about it.
And then you're going to find yourself back in Honduras, and guess what? Your kids can't speak Spanish, bitch, because they grew up in fucking Brooklyn.
Yeah, dude. Lisa Ekman, she was like, I'm not happy about all of the stuff that's going on with the immigration. There were a couple of things that I would have liked to like disagree with her more on. And I did disagree. I said that I'm completely fine with it. It's like you see these videos of ICE like breaking a person's window and like yanking them out of their car. Good. Fuck you. I don't feel bad about that at all. And like the idea that some people who are citizens have been caught up in this, I don't fucking care. Like if there's a murder in my area and I'm walking down the street, they're like, the murderer was wearing a gray hoodie. This isn't a hoodie, but it's gray. Mm-hmm. And they stop me and they like, I don't feel like they did anything wrong. They have to make sure that I'm not the murderer.
Yep.
So if somebody who's a citizen gets caught up in that and then they get let go, that sucks. I really don't care.
It's such a disingenuous argument, man.
Yeah. And honestly, a lot of those people who are getting caught up in that, even if they aren't illegal immigrants, even if they were born here, I really don't have a whole lot of sympathy for the anchor babies either. Like, if it were up to me, we'd be getting rid of a lot of them too.
Yeah, birthright citizenship is nonsense.
Yeah, it's got to go.
Nonsense.
It's got to go. And I think that, I really do think that we're moving towards that as a country. Like these people online and these people in the news, they want to make it seem like people are outraged by this stuff, but it doesn't seem to me like most people are. Yeah. It seems like there's a vocal minority and they're doing we all agree, you know?
Yeah, yep.
No, we don't fucking all agree.
We don't.
It seems like most people agree with me. So fuck you. You're going. You're on the plane. You're in Alligator Alcatraz and you're fucking out the door.
And on that note, we cue the music.
That's right.
Well, there you have it. That's one avenue explored, but infinitely more still to go. I hope you enjoyed thinking along with us. I know. It's not easy work. Thinking. It's hard and full of uncertainties, but I'm grateful for the company as we trek through this together. Here's to hoping that the juice is worth the squeeze. See what I did there? Let's find out together in the next episode.